Greetings world. For all those that do not know, Chevron is the largest producer of natural gas for Israel and the largest multinational corporation with a significant stake in Israel's energy sector. Chevron operates and partially owns the largest active Israeli gas fields, Tamar and Leviathan, and the smaller and undeveloped Dalit field, all of which are located in the eastern Mediterranean Sea, west of Haifa. The gas from Tamar is processed in a rig that is located farther south, off the coast of Isdud Ashdod. In 2023, Chevron made an estimated $1.5 billion in revenue from Tamar and Leviathan gas sales alone, mostly from exports to Egypt and Jordan. Chevron partially owns the Maribi gas field off the coast of the Gaza Strip, but it has been depleted and inactive since 2013. Chevron also operates and partially owns the East Mediterranean gas pipeline, which runs from Israel to Egypt, off the coast of the Gaza Strip. As the operator of these gas fields and the pipeline, Chevron is in charge of all operations of these projects, including planning, construction, production, and supply. The Caspian Pipeline Consortium in Russia, which supplies crude oil to Israel, and the main Kazakh companies that supply this oil, are also partially owned by Chevron. Between 2021 and December 2024, Chevron spent nearly $28.5 million on lobbying the United States government, including on energy issues related to Israel. Chevron entered the Israeli fossil gas market in 2020 with the acquisition of Noble Energy. It can choose to sell off this investment at any time. Chevron fuels Israeli apartheid, military occupation, and settler colonialism. Chevron is a major economic partner of the Israeli government, so Chevron is fueling apartheid and war crimes. Israel collects hundreds of millions of dollars every year in royalties and fees from Chevron extraction projects. In 2023, this amounted to over $820 million above and beyond other regular corporate taxes. Israel's energy production relies on the supply of fossil fuel. About 71% of the electricity produced in 2023 used fossil fuel, and two-thirds of it was supplied by Chevron's Tamar gas field. Tamar holds the main supply contract to the state-owned Israel Electric Corporation until 2030. The Israel Electric Corporation supplies electricity to all branches of the Israeli government and the vast majority of Israeli households. This means that all Israeli military bases, prisons, police stations, as well as Israel's illegal settlements and outposts in the occupied West Bank, rely on Chevron. The supply of electricity across Israel and the occupied Palestinian territory is used as a tool of subjugation, collective punishment, annexation, and dispossession. In the occupied Palestinian territory, the Israel Electric Corporation took over the Palestinian power grid after Israel's 1967 occupation, making the Palestinian population dependent on its services. As part of Israel's apartheid regime, some Palestinian communities inside Israel and across the occupied Palestinian territory are banned from connection to the grid. Some are provided separate services. Some are charged differently than neighboring Jewish Israeli towns, and many suffer punitive power cuts as a form of collective punishment. This is energy apartheid. Specifically, Chevron has fueled and exploited the Israeli military occupation of Gaza. Since 2007, Israel has imposed an air, land, and naval blockade of Gaza. Israel tightened its blockade to enable Chevron's operations off the coast of Gaza. Chevron's Tamar processing rig and its pipelines are located about 13.5 nautical miles offshore near Al-Majdalaskalon, Ashkelon, just outside the territorial waters of Gaza. The Israeli Navy secured this rig, and the nearby East Mediterranean gas pipeline, by restricting all Palestinian maritime activities in the area, like fishing and swimming, since 2009. This has tightened Israel's naval blockade on the Gaza Strip to 3 to 6 nautical miles, with devastating impacts on Gaza's economy and fishing industry. The East Mediterranean gas pipeline, also operated and partially owned by Chevron, connects Israel and Egypt, passing west of the Gaza shoreline, regardless of its exact location. Kept secret for security reasons, this pipeline is not under Israeli jurisdiction, and any economic gain in this area without Palestinian agreement is illegal under international law. Since 2007, Israel has repeatedly destroyed civilian energy infrastructure, including Gaza's one power plant, making the Israel Electric Corporation an indispensable supplier, providing about 30 to 50% of Gaza's electricity, paid for by the Palestinian Authority. Israel frequently reduced or shut off supply as a form of collective punishment, in violation of international law. After October 7, 2023, electricity supply to Gaza was completely shut off. Chevron is one of the world's largest fossil fuel companies, fueling the climate crisis worldwide. It ranks first for most cumulative climate pollution in history among all investor-owned fossil fuel companies. Chevron is responsible for major instances of climate destruction in California. In 2021, the company's Richmond refinery spilled 600 gallons of oil into the San Francisco Bay. Chevron deliberately dumped 16 billion gallons of toxic wastewater into Ecuador's Amazon rainforest between 1964 and 1992, in what is considered the world's largest oil-related catastrophe. It has yet to clean up this wastewater. Chevron polluted the Niger Delta, decimating the region's ecosystem and devastating indigenous groups' waterways, food systems, and livelihoods. The company has yet to clean up this pollution. Chevron's activities disproportionately impact communities of color with pollution and severe human health risks. The company has faced several lawsuits, including in Delaware, Oakland and San Francisco, California, Hoboken, New Jersey, and Washington, D.C., alleging that the impacts of its operations have disproportionately affected marginalized communities. Chevron has repeatedly been sued for violence against indigenous communities around the world. In 2021, an independent analysis of 70 lawsuits against the company found that 65% of cases involved documented claims of severe human rights abuses, including torture, forced labor and slavery, rape, murder, and genocide. Between 2005 and 2024, Chevron was one of the owners of the Yadana gas project in Myanmar. Revenue from the project reportedly funded atrocities against the people of Myanmar. After the 2021 military coup and military attacks on Myanmar's ethnic communities and resistance actors, Chevron lobbied the United States government not to impose sanctions on Myanmar. In 2022, Chevron announced it would exit the country, and it did so in 2024. Chevron's construction of a pipeline from Chad to Cameroon on indigenous lands from 2000 to 2003 displaced some 22,000 indigenous persons through the contamination of their water sources and soil and the destruction of their food sources. Protests against this land destruction led to violent conflict, beginning in the 1980s. Chevron's activities in Nigeria have led to the destruction of ancestral lands and the forcible displacement of multiple indigenous communities. In several documented incidents, Chevron paid military forces destroyed indigenous communities' homes and infrastructure to clear lands for pipelines and executed indigenous rights activists. The company's activities have played a role in the destruction of marginalized people's homes, resources, and livelihoods in Azerbaijan, Angola, Argentina, Canada, China, East Timor, Ecuador, Ghana, Indonesia, Kazakhstan, Poland, Thailand, Venezuela, the United States, and other countries. Especially the impacts of the 2023 to 2025 war in the Middle East. Chevron faces significant ongoing risks to its operations in the region due to the ongoing violent conflict. These risks include emergency shutdowns, barriers to developing and expanding operations, difficulties sourcing maintenance workers, and persistent uncertainty among clients and investors. Chevron has repeatedly shut down its operations in Israel from 2023 to 2024. In October 2023, Chevron shut down production of the Tamar processing rig and its gas exports through the East Mediterranean gas pipeline for almost 6 weeks due to increased security risks. Several more emergency shutdowns were recorded at both Leviathan and Tamar in October and November 2024. The company called these shutdowns precautionary measures, citing security concerns, such as missile or drone attacks, that could threaten the safety of its employees and its facilities. These shutdowns had an impact on gas exports to Egypt, cutting Chevron's revenues in 2023 and resulting in power outages in Egypt. Reportedly, Egyptian officials started looking for alternative supply sources, creating risks for Chevron's future revenues. All expansion plans to the gas fields, rigs, and pipelines were halted and postponed after October 2023. Including a planned expansion to Leviathan's production capacity, a plan to build a new pipeline to Egypt, and further development of the Tamar gas field. From 2023 to 2024, Chevron repeatedly reported to its investors that the ongoing war may threaten its revenues. Amid increasing uncertainty, the company has reported that the future impacts of the war on its operations and financial condition remain uncertain. Chevron's gas projects in Palestine lands, which Israel controls, gain the most revenue from exports to Jordan and Egypt. Exports to Egypt increased by almost 40% in 2023, making up to 14% of Egyptian consumption, while exports to Jordan supplied over 80% of Jordan's gas needs for energy production. Israel has prevented the development of the Palestinian Gaza marine gas field since its discovery in 2000, about 19.4 nautical miles off the coast of Gaza. In June 2023, Israel announced that it would begin developing the field in cooperation with Egypt and the Palestinian Authority. The field is owned by CC Oil and Gas of the Consolidated Contractors Company and the Palestinian Investment Fund. Chevron is not involved in this project. About 1/3 of Israel's gas needs as of 2023 is extracted from the newly developed Karish gas field, operated by a Greek-British firm, the Energy and Oil and Gas. This company also owns the Israeli Karish North, Tainan, and Katlan gas fields and is the second largest multinational player in Israel's energy sector after Chevron. Other non-Israeli companies with a large stake in the Israeli energy sector, through their minority stakes in the Tamar gas field, include the Abu Dhabi state-owned company, Dalit Petroleum, and the state oil company of the Republic of Azerbaijan. In October 2023, following the onset of the Gaza genocide, Israel granted new gas exploration permits, including the Italian company Eni, the United Kingdom companies like BP and Dalit Petroleum, and Sakar. These permits were contested by Palestinian human rights organizations, as they include areas inside Palestinian maritime territory. In March 2025, Israel granted new gas exploration permits to BP, Sakar, and an Israeli company called NewMed, aimed at boosting domestic gas reserves and exports. In October 2022, the BDS National Committee called for a boycott of Chevron. It says that the United States fossil fuel multinational was the main international corporation extracting gas claimed by Israel in the eastern Mediterranean since, and that it was therefore implicated in Israel's practice of depriving the Palestinian people of their right to sovereignty over their own natural resources. In January 2025, a fact sheet by the Action Center for Corporate Accountability for the Boycott Chevron campaign said that Chevron is the largest producer of natural gas for Israel and the largest multinational corporation with a significant stake in Israel's energy sector. In 2023, Israel collected over $820 million in royalties and fees from Chevron extraction projects. On top of regular corporate taxes, Israel also tightened its blockade of Gaza to protect Chevron's operations off the coast of Gaza. Now that all of you know of this information, we call on every human on our only planet we call home to boycott all oil companies before it's too late, and we won't have a planet to call home because of their disastrous ways. Operation Boycott All Oil Wars. Engaged.